The run of defeats ended by Kilmarnock, but still winless in 7. There was a penalty that got them in front, Bruce Anderson, after it was saved by Dave Richards, and then in the second half United came back, and worthy of their points, you would suggest. Toby Oluwayemi made a save from the spot kick in the first half from Waters. It was Sybil that got the equaliser for Dundee United, and probably a fair result at the end of the day. So Michael, 1-1 at the end of it. Who was your outstanding player this evening?
Well, the man in the middle of the park for Dundee United, Kamara, I thought he was the one that constantly throughout that game was driving his team forward in what was an even contest. Kamara in the middle of the park for Dundee United, he was my man of the match.
So Pan Kamara gets the individual. What do you think in the end? A point was the right result? Possibly.
Yeah, I think there were spells in the game where both teams had the upper hand, but probably didn't do enough just to secure all 3 points. And I think you asked the question earlier on as well, when there was probably about 20 minutes to go, would the teams take a point? I think they'll probably be both fairly happy. Puts an end to the losing streak that Killie were on. And as I said, Dundee United away from home, not had the best of form, but a draw at Tynecastle. They've picked up another draw here. Something for them to try and build on.
Craig Sibbald shows his appreciation for the visiting fans who made their way down. His equaliser gets Dundee United a point after Anderson's opener, and the full-time score here at Rugby Park is Kilmarnock 1, Dundee United 1.
Thank you very much for that, Rory, and thank you to Michael Stewart as well. The players just making their way off the pitch here at Rugby Park after a pretty difficult, pretty chilly evening for the players and for those watching along as well. I don't know about you, but it was, I think, probably, Alan, a fair result in the end.
I would say so. I thought Kilmarnock probably just edged it. They were coming onto a game in the first half. Dundee United done well to get back into it. And both teams had opportunities in the second half, but I would say overall probably a fair result, ending 1-1.
Yeah, probably. There wasn't much really in the game. Kilmarnock, once they get the lead, I know the second half they'd probably come out and try and hold on to that. It's a natural thing to do when you're on a losing streak. You get a 1-0 lead and you try and sit back, and that's what they tried to do, and it was far too early to try and hold on to a lead, and it proved to be the case because Dundee United got back into it.
OK, let's have a look at how that leaves the Scottish Premiership table right now. Hearts still leading the way. Dundee United sitting still in 7th place on 15 points, just a point above Aberdeen. And Kilmarnock, well, they take themselves up to 10th place. Just St Mirren and Livingston hot on their heels as they're doing their best to avoid that all-important relegation. Right, we'll get all of the action. We'll review it all the penalties, the ones that they saved, the ones that they scored, and that goal from Craig Sibbald. We'll look all over that after this short break. Right, here at Rugby Park, it ended Kilmarnock 1, Dundee United 1. Let's get some reaction from Dundee United. The player of the match was Pan Kamara. He is alongside his captain, Ross Graham. They've been speaking to Stephen Craigan.
Ross, a point in the end. Does it feel like 2 dropped? You possibly could have went on and won the game?
Yeah, I think it was a really entertaining game, but we're really happy with a point on the road. It's never a bad result in the league, so no, there's plenty of positives to take, so points probably a fair result.
From a personal perspective, you've missed a lot of football. You must be delighted to be back onto the pitch.
Yeah, it's been a long 4 months rehab, but this is the moment you work hard for to come out here and play in a game. So I've been looking forward to it for a while, but felt good to be back out there.
The team took a lot of criticism after last weekend's game. Clearly you weren't planning that. Did that hurt the players? Because I think they showed good character to make sure they come back in a game where they fell behind.
Yeah, last week's game against Falkirk wasn't good enough. We were all hurting after it, and we had a weeks of good work and training. And you could tell out there that the boys were really fired up from this after a back performance last week. And yeah, we've got a really good quality squad in there, and we're always going to bounce back from it.
Pa, it's been a special week for you. You became a father, and now you're back on the football pitch. Just try and describe how the week has been.
Must be buzzing. I'm so happy for my child, my family. Everything is good, and then happy to be back playing again.
And it's been a busy week. You had a friendly game during the week, now back in the first team. How important was it tonight just to build on last week and try and get some positivity back into the group?
Yeah, I think we show the character. We just need to keep going, keep working hard to be good in the league.
Ross, there's been some criticism with regards inconsistency within the group. Is that something you're going to have to try and iron out moving forward to try and climb the table?
Yeah, it probably is. But we know how good of a squad we've got in there and the performances that we can put on. So I'm sure we'll need to work on the consistency, and hopefully that can click at some point.
Well, Pa, you are the man of the match. Can you please do the honours? Thank you.
Thank you.
He's had a big week, hasn't he? Welcoming his child into the world and then winning the Premier Sports Player of the Match. It's a huge moment for him, sure. But he was really integral tonight, wasn't he, to what Dundee United were trying to do?
Yeah, I mean, sleepless nights incoming for him, I'd imagine, as well.
No,
but it was excellent. He was missed last week. He's back into the first team fold, and he's just very aggressive. He loves to get after the ball. He loves to win it. But not only that, he's good when he gets control. He can see a pass, and he just works tirelessly.
Yeah, alongside Sybil down there, they've got really good legs. It's important when at times you've only got the two in there to cover the width of the pitch. You need to have legs, and Kamara and Sybil definitely complement each other with that.
I certainly know that one thing Craig Sybil's been trying to add to his game is more goals. He got that tonight, and he's certainly a player. He's got so many different types of attributes, and I guess this is something that we've not maybe seen from him for a wee while.
Yeah, he's a very, very, very good player. Having played with him, I didn't realise how good he was until I actually shared the change room with him and trained with him every day. He's very fit, very, very good off the ball in terms of winning the ball back and getting about the pitch, as we've already mentioned. And he can get in the box as well and score a goal. He's he is a much better player than I gave him credit for when he signed for Dundee United. I really saw that.
I think defensively, from a Kilmarnock point of view, we've spoke about the goals that they've been conceding in recent matches. I mean, there's no intensity, there's no desire to go and close somebody down. I mean, from a Dundee United's point of view, excellent. They work the ball really well. Sybil gets into the back post. But look at the reaction.
The reason you play five defenders at the back or three centre-halves is they have more bodies run about the box in this situation here. When you look at it, there's not enough players in the area for whatever reason for Kilmarnock, and it's poor defending.
I wonder if you get to a point where you're playing five at the back, and we know that's Stuart Kettlewell's sort of forte, that's what he likes to do, but at some point do you say, we need to switch this up a wee bit?
I don't think he will. I think he likes...
I think he should?
Well, that, in my opinion, I would change something up. I mean, you look at Aberdeen this season, poor start, and they change things up and they come onto a game. Hibs last season, the exact same thing, poor start, changed, found a formation that worked for them, and they're flying now. So sometimes it's worth taking that risk, maybe going to a back four, 4-2-3-1 or whatever it may be. But I just feel at this moment in time, they're just missing something. It's just a wee bit off.
Yeah, I feel you can change it, or from within that formation, you can adjust how you set up in possession, because within that you can still be very attacking by pushing your wing backs on and even bringing wingers on to be your wing backs. You can then have three centre backs building up, so you still get your five when you're defending, but attacking wise you can still be a lot more attacking within the same formation.
So is it about then for him, and what we're seeing at the moment is he's not necessarily wanting to change what he's doing with five at the back, but he's trying to change personnel? But is that telling us something then within the personnel that he has, or potentially where they're at in their mindset?
Yeah, well, he can only go with what he's got, and he tries to make the subs and play the best players he can. But if Stuart Kettlewell's worked from pre-season on a back five and a certain style of play, whether that be a five, a box and a one, or whether it's a five, a three and a two, he's worked on that, so the players understand what he's asking for. To then completely change it and go to a four or a completely different style of play is a bit confusing. I think I can understand why he's keeping to the five.
What you need to remember as well is they've conceded a lot of goals in the last six before this game. That's a big factor to play, and maybe that's made them be a little bit more defensive, and they've lost a lot, just a touch of that attacking presence that we have seen earlier in the season, but it will come round.
I mean, you concede a lot of goals. I think usually it's when you're in a back four. Typically you'll see a team going to a back five to get the extra defender in. But when you're in a back five, you're never going to go to a back six. So it's
I've done it with Scotland.
Well, I was just going to say, well, I'll tell you what, we'll find out what Stuart Kettlewell thinks about that. We'll find out what he thinks about this 90 plus minutes in just a couple of minutes' time. Was he happy with just getting away from the defeats that we've seen for the past 6 weeks? We'll see. We'll hear from him and from Jim Goodwin after this short break. Stay with us. Welcome back to a very quiet Rugby Park. It ended Kilmarnock 1, Dundee United 1. Dundee United had to come back from a goal down to get their point. Let's hear from their manager, Jim Goodwin. He's been speaking to Stephen Craigan.
Jim, took a little while to digest the game. What's your assessment of it?
I thought the first half was, really, really scrappy. I didn't think there was a great deal between the two teams. It was everything that we expected, to be honest, in the build-up to the game. You know what you're going to get with Kilmarnock in terms of getting the balls forward, picking up them second balls, getting your back line turned. I thought we coped with the majority of what they threw at us in the first half really, really well. But, the big talking point, Craigs, is the penalty kick that gets awarded to Kilmarnock. I can't, for the life of me, having watched it back now half a dozen times after the game, I can't believe that, we've been done with a decision like that. I don't understand how the referee is not called to the monitor to reassess the decision, and I think if he sees it again, I would be confident that he would have overturned it and not given the penalty. So that's a real big problem for us. Obviously, going in the goal behind at half time. Obviously, we missed one ourselves early on, but the players, I thought, showed exactly the reaction we were hoping for in the second half. Good positive reaction, good character. Much better in the second half, played the majority of the game in the Kilmarnock half, and pleased in the end to get that all-important goal.
Take it back to the penalty. What information was relayed to your players on the pitch, or what information has been relayed to you since then?
Well, I spoke to the referee at half-time and just asked for, what the reason was for the decision. He felt there was a clear push in the back, but I mean, I'm not being funny. If you're going to be given penalty kicks for that type of contact, then we're going to see 2 and 3 penalties a game. If it had been given in the middle of the pitch, I'd have been really disappointed, So the one, argument I could make, I suppose, is that my defender probably doesn't need to make that contact because Watkins is going away from goal. It's not really a dangerous position, but at the same time, look, he's, it's in his nature to try and win the ball. There's a slight coming together, but you're going to expect that, and I just think it's a really, really poor decision, and obviously it gives Kilmarnock a real lift, and it means that we have to go and chase the game again in the second half.
Going through the first half, you get the penalty yourself, you miss it, you suddenly go behind, and you're on the back foot then for 10 or 15 minutes. What's going through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, look, we've been desperate to try and get our noses in front in recent games. The last 7 or 8 games, we've conceded the first goal, which is not good enough on our part. Again today, the players show good character to go and rescue a point at least from the game. But look, I don't think it's a terrible penalty from Max Waters, if I'm being honest. I think it's a really good save from the young goalkeeper. But yeah, look, I mean, the players have to then respond to the disappointment of going in a goal behind, given the penalty decision that was given against us.
You made a big decision ahead of the game, changing your goalkeeper. A special word for Dave Edwards? I thought he came in and was very confident looking.
Yeah, Dave Richards done great today. A really adequate replacement, a great backup goalkeeper. He's fought hard with Kucherenko in the summer to get the jersey. Kuch got the nod, and unfortunately there's been one or two highlighted mistakes, and we felt we had to make that decision today. He's not in the squad today because unfortunately he picked up a calf strain during the week, and that's the reason why he's been omitted from the squad and why we've had to call Rory Adams back. But really pleased for Dave Richards. He's so unlucky with the penalty as well. Makes the save from the initial shot from Anderson, but just very unfortunate that it didn't go away from goal, and it fell kindly for Anderson to go and tap in the rebound.
Yeah, it could have been one of those moments for him that you thought, right, this is my chance to show why this jersey could be mine. And we'll get to that a little bit later. But it's interesting talking about the first penalty and just what Jim Goodwin was saying there, that he was told there was a clear push in the back. Let's have a little look at it again and just sort of, I don't know, Alan, what's your take on this? Because Jim Goodwin was pretty strong there. He thought that it shouldn't have happened. They shouldn't have had that penalty.
Well, this is obviously
the other one.
Yeah, the other one. I think Karetses does really well. A little bit of skill there. Shelter Brown, I don't feel has to make that challenge. He just has to usher him towards the byline. That's a little bit clumsy, and you're always going to be giving away a penalty with a challenge like that.
I think it's a great turn of pace for Karetses, and he's clever with the way he sticks his foot in, but Brown doesn't need to dive in there. He just needs to usher the ball. He's going nowhere, usher the ball down the line and see it out, but he dives in. And
Oliver Yemi with a
great save. Yeah.
It is. I mean, he's got power behind it, and you can see it's a great angle for here. Gets a good wrist on, good hand onto the post. It was a good save.
Yeah, and again, Max Waters coming, first game back for a wee while as well. That was an opportunity for him, but, sometimes it doesn't fall in your favour. And then when it comes to that penalty that Jim Goodwin's talking about, if you're Marley Watkins, I don't know, Alan,
It's not for me. It's not for me. I
wonder why.
But maybe I'm speaking from a defender's point of view. I just think if this is given as a penalty, look, Marley Watkins is clever. He feels there's a contact. There's a little coming together between them here. I just don't think it's
that
enough.
Shoulder, isn't it?
Yeah, I just don't think. He doesn't need to make it. Karetses doesn't need to make it. I think he's clever to go down under the contact, but not for me. I think it's soft.
I think he's taking a chance here, Karetses. I think that it's a clash of heads, and if Marley Watkins stays in his feet, it's not given. But the fact that it goes down, the referee's got a decision to make. I think even if he goes to the monitor, I know Jim Goodwin says if he went to the monitor it wouldn't have been. I think if he goes to the monitor and he sees a clash of heads, he has to give the penalty if he's already given it.
Can you imagine how many penalties we'd see? If this is the standard of what you're getting?
Do you know the interesting thing as well? Actually, from where we were sitting, when I first saw it, I thought that's not a penalty. But actually, when you see it again in that replay, and I'm sure Jim Goodwin's seen it again, and that he's entitled to his opinion on that. But I suppose the defender's given the referee the decision to make, the chance to make, because he changes the position of his body when he just goes in to try and block the tackle.
Yeah, it is, and that's the thing. His momentum's going towards Marley Watkins, which means it just needs a touch and he goes down. But the amount of players that have got for headers in the box and maybe clash heads and that type of thing happens all the time, and penalties aren't
I think
given.
you need to remember though that there's going to be a coming together at times within the box. It's a contact sport, so if I'm up against you, you're going to be jostling and things like that. So
again,
Karetses like a true right.
Again, Karetses doesn't need to go for it. As soon as he sees it, Nick, he should maybe just hold back the way he got the penalty against him. But
well, I'll tell you what, let's hear what Stuart Kettlewell's got to say, because I'm assuming he will have a view on both of those penalties and the bit of chaos that ensued afterwards. He's been speaking to Stephen Craigan.
Stuart, I have to say, after a really competitive game, an enjoyable game, what's your take on it?
I think when you get the first goal, Stephen, I think you're frustrated because it's a bit we felt has went against us. The goalie makes a huge save, doesn't he, from the Dundee United penalty, and we get our nose in front. And then I thought we kind of handled the half really well after that, but I didn't feel we started the second half particularly well. There was too many turnovers of the ball, too many opportunities I felt that we could have come out of, kind of dead areas where there's bodies and there's congestion. And if we breach that and go beyond it, then I think it gives us a chance to be able to attack, obviously make a few alterations, a few tweaks just to get ourselves a wee bit of foothold. And I felt towards the end of the game, we obviously had a couple of wee opportunities, we half chances, and then the free kick with the last kick of the ball. But we need to break this cycle. We didn't come here for a point today. We come to try and obviously win the 3 points. But I've said that to the players, as disappointed I think as you are sometimes, both teams making a wee case for maybe trying to win it. We have to break the cycle that we were on and getting a point. Dundee United are always going to show a reaction to last week against Falkirk as well, so from that side I think we'll sit in the cool light of day and say fine, but we know we can do more.
There was an incident when you were 1-0 up, when the ball bounced about in the box. It looked like it was over the line. Yeah. Play went on, referee's given a free kick. What information have you been given, or what have you asked?
I'm kind of a wee bit at a loss with this one just now. Now Stuart Luke, that's the fourth official, is excellent, very good. His communication is great, his demeanour is brilliant. I always find him somebody that's really good to cross paths with. But I was led to believe that the ball hadn't crossed the line. We're now saying that it's been given for the foul, but I believed it was the second foul, and there is a second foul on the goalkeeper. But if you look at the contact between the goalkeeper and Marley Watkins, Marley springs so well, he actually gets a touch on the ball, and for me the goalkeeper's come into Marley as much as Marley's initiated contact towards him. So I'm a little bit surprised that if that's what they're saying, it's the first foul, and we all know that if the ball's crossed the line then the second foul is completely irrelevant. So I for one, we've asked the referees and the officials there for confirmation. They've said it's the first foul, and I take their word on that, but it's probably a situation, Stephen, where I'm looking forward to hearing the audio, to hear what the actual communication information is there, and I'll tip my hat to them if they've got that bit spot on, but I was led to believe it wasn't the first coming together we were looking at, it was more the second one, but I was also led to believe that the ball hadn't crossed the line, so maybe I'm getting a little bit confused, but I'm only going on the information I was given at the side of the pitch.
Does that become a little bit more frustrating then, because you talk about fine lines and thin margins when you're down there and you're battling and you're trying to get that win, and something like that may go against you?
Yeah, Matthew said in there that he had it in his mind that it was a foul anyway. He was letting the play go on at that point. Obviously, VAR's not going to intervene and say that it's not a foul, but at the stage of the game, you sat here and watched it the same as the rest of us. That can be a big momentum shifter, and from a score in the first goal, our tails got up, and that comes pretty quickly afterwards. And you believe that could be a big moment in the game. I'll go back to it. If it's for the first foul, I'm asking everybody to have a look at that, and that both the goalkeeper and the striker come together, so I'm not really seeing a foul in it if that's what we've given it for.
Stuart, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, we understand that it was for that first foul, but again, I suppose the concerning part of this is the communication and the fact that maybe it's just because we're just directly after the game that there's not had a discussion being had just yet. But let's have a look at this, because I guess both managers were right in this and saying this is the sort of moment that can change the direction of a match in lots of different ways. But that foul there, that's what our understanding is the foul was for.
Yeah, it has to be for the first one, because Stuart Kettlewell spot on. If it was given for the second one, it's irrelevant because it would have been a goal because the ball crossed the line. Marley Watkins and Richards goes for it. There's a coming together. The referee has indicated that that's the foul, and that's why the goal has not been given. I mean, it depends how you look at it. Both are challenging for the ball. You just see it here, Marley Watkins' eyes are firmly on the ball. The keeper comes out. Can he be a little bit stronger as a goalkeeper?
Yeah, I think goalkeepers are far too protected, in my opinion. They are far too protected. The argument would be in the modern game, that's the way it is. Marley Watkins goes kind of elbow first to protect himself, and he's fouled the goalkeeper, I think. But in general, I think goalkeepers are far too protected.
I think it is a foul.
I think the only reason we're having this conversation about this is because the whistle wasn't blown for that first foul until about 10 or 15 seconds later, and at that point the ball had gone over the line. That's why we're talking about it.
Yeah, I think to be fair, you need to let play run to see what's going to happen. If it's going to go to play, if it's over the line.
But do you if it's been a foul?
But how many times do we see it, Connie? It happens all the time. It's infuriating when you can quite clearly see an offside. Yeah. It's not tight and play goes on for 10, 15 seconds, then it's brought back. And it's not until somebody maybe gets injured or hurt or whatever, then it's going to become a problem.
But if he blows right as he sees the foul, and then the ball goes over the line and it's a goal, and he's given the foul, he can't go then back and give the goal. So he's let it run for a couple of seconds to see what happens with the ball. If the ball's out of play, if it goes in the net.
But the foul's on the keeper though. So there's no advantage given to anyone else. But
if he sees the foul and he thinks it's a foul, he should blow the whistle instantly. If he thinks it's a foul.
But then what if the ball goes in the net? He's not getting a chance to. He's not getting a chance to sort his mistake out.
So wait a minute. So if he blows the whistle here,
and he goes,
right,
that's a foul.
and that's a foul, then there's no discussion after that.
But the discussion would then be if he looks back and sees it and he goes, "Oh, that's actually not a foul, but I've not gave the goal. I can't go back and give the goal. I need to let play out, so then I can then go back and have a look at it." It gives yourself that safety net of going back and having a look at it.
Yeah, I understand what you mean, but I wonder if we're the fact that this conversation even is happening is because maybe there was a bit of confusion in the first instance, and
there was definitely confusion.
Yeah, there was definitely a little bit of that.
And not just here. Right, okay. We have got a big game coming up on Wednesday. Of course, we'll bring you that from Tannadice. It's Dundee United against Rangers. Thank you very much, both of you, as always, for your company. Hopefully you can join us on Wednesday evening. It is going to be a cracker in the Scottish Premiership. Enjoy your evening. We're off to get warm. See you later. Bye-bye.